topic is all about Introduction to Applied Economics. So this chapter explains why people, businesses, and governments must make choices. The main problem is scarcity, which means resources are limited, but people's needs and wants are unlimited. Because of this, we must learn how to use resources wisely. The chapter starts by explaining economic resources, which are the things used to produce goods and services. These resources are important because without them, the production cannot happen. Next, the chapter asks us to look at our own environment, like home, school, or community, and identify examples of scarcity, such as limited money, time, or supplies. It then explains how people make economic decisions to deal with scarcity. These decisions depend on the economic system a society follows. So each system has its own way of deciding what to produce, how to produce, and who will receive the goods. The chapter also explains that economic is a social science because it studies human behavior and choices. It has different branches that help us understand both small and large economic activities. To support good decisions, economics uses a scientific approach, which means using data, facts, and analysis instead of guessing. So this is why measuring economic activity is important. It helps us understand how the economy is performing and guides better decision making. So these are the learning objectives. At the end of the chapter, you should able to first distinguish between economics as a social science and as an applied science. So second, apply the concept of opportunity cost when evaluating options and making economic decisions based on how a man can satisfy the most wants given limited resources. So third one is differentiate macroeconomics from microeconomics and positive economics from normative economics. So the fourth one is describe and state the importance of economic resources. The fifth one is differentiate the gross national product from the gross domestic product and use their different computational approaches. So the sixth one is identify, analyze, and propose solutions to the basic problems of the Philippine economy using the principle of applied economics and provide innovative ways in putting the proposed solutions into action. So the seventh is describe the various economic systems, and eight, the last one is apply the scientific approach in analyzing economic theory. So terms to remember. So we need to remember the word economics. Economics is a social science that deals with how to allocate scarce resources to satisfy man's unlimited needs and wants. Well-known economist Alfred Marshall described economics as a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. So it examines part of the individual and social action which are mostly closely connected to the attainment and use of material requisites of the well-being. So economics is the study of how people use limited resources to satisfy unlimited needs and wants. So that's all.
So, shortage exists when the available supply of goods is not enough to meet its demand. So, basically, ang shortage meaning kuwang ang supply sa mga goods or products para ma-cater ang demand. So, for example, sa isa ka store is naay ganahan mamalit og 5 kilo sacks of rice. Then, the available supply of the store is only 5 sacks. So, since 10 man ang demand, so 10 people man ang ganahan mo palit, and ilhan supply is 5 ra. So, meaning, gamay ra sila supply. So, meaning, in that case, ning occur na ang shortage. So, when we say of shortage, we should remember nga, shortage is temporary na siya kay because we can acquire more supply man if ever mahotdan taog kanang mga supplies of goods. So next is the social science. Social science is the study of society and how people behave collectively and influencing the world around us. So basically from the word itself, social meaning socializing. So we are interacting people around us, and it explains how people interact with others, how we make decisions, and giunsa nato pag-impluwensya ang uban para mas masabtan sad nila ang atuang expression. So next is macroeconomics. So macroeconomics studies the economic systems as a whole rather than the individual economic units that make up the whole economy. So meaning ang macroeconomics wala siya nagtan-aw sa inside sa isa ka economic system, but instead macroeconomics looks at the outside or the bigger picture of the whole economy, such as the inflation. So inflation outside economic systems naman na siya. So muna siya ang i-manage sa kanang macroeconomics, like the inflation, the unemployment, then the national income. So when we say of microeconomics, it is concerned with the behavior of individual entities in the economy, such as the consumer, producer, and resource owner. So basically, ang macroeconomics is the individual units na ang iyang gifokusan. So dili na ang outside sa economic system ang iyang gifokusan, but instead ang mga individuals nga that makes up the economy, such as the consumer, ang nag-produce sa mga goods and services, ang tag-iya sa mga resources. Next is the opportunity cost. So opportunity cost refers to the value of the best foregone alternatives. It refers to the value of what is given up to acquire another good. So basically, ang gifokusan ani sa opportunity cost is ang unsay value sa kanang sa best alternative nga imong gi-give up para lang maka-acquire kog another goods. So the next is the economic resources, so also known as the factors of production. So these are the inputs used to produce goods and services. So these are the resources nga magamit nato para mag-produce of products. So without these economic resources, I think we cannot produce any goods or products. So the first economic product is the land. Land refers to all natural resources found in nature. So kana tanan nga makita nato sa atong palibot, that is a land. So it includes the natural resources with such as owners of land receive payment known as rent. So kung if kani nga land is nani tag-iya, then imong gigamit ang land para sa imong production. So imo sudan dapat rentahan. And next is the labor. So labor refers to the human resources and used in production. So it covers the manual workers, machines, production workers, like that. So basically, we all know sa labor. So mo na siya ang mga manpower behind the created products. So it can be manual, pwede mano-mano, or pwede with the use of machines. So mas efficient or mas dali if we use machines in creating or in producing products. The next is the capital. So capital refers to the man-made resources used in the production of other goods and services, such as machines, equipment, buildings, and construction. So capital is nag-involve siya of money. So ang capital mo ni siya silbi nga kanang sinugdanan nato sa ato ang in producing goods, because ang machine dako sa siya tabang in producing goods, kay asa man siya may magtrabaho or siya may way para makaproduce the product. So ang machine is an example of capital because we invest money on that, like the equipments as well as the buildings. We muna siya silbi murag asset nato or capital nato in creating product. Next is the entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is a factor of production involved in combining the different resources used to produce goods and services. So basically, entrepreneurship is the skills of how you manage the how